Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, she's had a little bit of time off, but she's back, and she's bringing with her all the news from the last few weeks. Catch you guys up on what you've missed out on. That's right, the Liante's here, and she's gonna let you know what's going on. So there's that. If you're not watching us on YouTube, there is a YouTube channel. There are videos with a lot of the podcasts, so do check us out over there. While you're there, give us a cheeky subscribe, because, it's the right thing to do. So yeah, there's that. So here we go. This is Cookiecast up Liante.
Okay, now we're recording. You can hear me? Yes. Do we also have video? We don't. Here we go. Now recording. There. Okay, I'm in position. Everybody with me? So, I am back. Hello, podcast people. Welcome to Up Liante. I have been, you may have noticed, you may not. It depends whether you're an avid fan or not. I've been absent for the last 2 weeks. Various reasons. Mostly, well, you know me by now, so mostly a bit laziness, a bit of illness, wasn't too well at one point. Thought I was getting coronavirus, turned out not to be the case. I had really sore throat, and then it was pointed out to me that sore throat isn't actually a symptom of coronavirus, so I stopped worrying and got better from that point. I think it was probably just hay fever, I'm not sure. But it came and went, and then I missed another podcast last week, but I'm back, so I guess 3 weeks away, 3 weeks absent, and I've returned to host another session. So here we are. This is podcast 15. It's kind of hard to reflect on 3 weeks and think about what I've been doing, what I've been up to. I won't go through it all sort of detail by detail. I'll give a summary view. You're probably hoping that I'm going to say I've been really good with my eating, with my weight loss, been really into the running, been playing loads of games, watching loads of TV. I can tell you now, probably none of that is true. I'm not sure. yeah, let's just go through it. So, we'll start with weight, because that's always the most at the forefront of my mind. Don't know about you guys, so I've got a lot of numbers written down here. Given that we're sort of spanning 3 weeks. I think in the first week that I kind of missed, so 3 weeks ago, I started at 14 stone 3.8 pounds. I then went up to 14 stone 5, came back down to 14 stone 1, and ended the week, or started the next week, at 14 2.8. So a pound's loss over the course of the week. A lot of yo-yoing up and down in between. The week after that, so starting at 14.2.8, I dropped to 14.1, but then ended the week, or started the next week, at 14.1.8. So another £1 loss. I guess over the course of this last week though, I started Monday at 14 stone, bang on the money, so I guess that's a £1.8 loss, which is looking slightly better, and that's probably because my meals have been a lot better. I'm sort of trying to stick to 3 meals a day, so generally starting with porridge with peanut butter and raisins or sultanas is just the winner for me. So generally having that for breakfast on a morning. Lunch is usually some kind of chopped veg, crudity sort of selection. If I haven't had that for lunch, then I'm having that for tea, or just some kind of veg dish with meat or corn usually. So it's quite a simple diet, but it works for me. I'm feeling full, I'm eating enough, but I'm still managing to lose weight. throwing in the exercise in there as well, and I think I'm making progress. It's definitely slow, but I'm still moving in the right direction, so I'm going to stick with it, and maybe the diet will need to change as I increase the exercise. Over the last few weeks I haven't been every week. There's been a number of sort of things crop up getting in the way, either for myself or my running partners, but I have been out, managed to do some of the longer distance sessions with Zoe, been doing the hill sprints with Cookie, and then as of this week I've actually managed to drag myself back out for a me run. No long distances by any means, but I'm just back on the 1 mile route. I can't imagine how long that's been. That's probably been a good 5 or 6 weeks since I've been out on my own. I've spoken about this before because it's not the first time I've been here, but I get into this mindset and think it's going to be really difficult to get out there. I'm going to hate it. I'm not going to be able to manage it. So why even bother trying? And that's not the answer. I know that is not the answer. I need to try, need to commit to this. So got up on Sunday morning, went out, managed to run 1.1 miles, which is fine. I'm happy with that. And then I did the same again yesterday morning. It was just a mile yesterday morning. So I feel like I'm taking steps in the right direction again. And although I committed to this last month, I said I wanted to run 25 miles over the course of July. I didn't quite get there because of there was 2 weeks running, so the last 2 weeks Zoe and I haven't been able to go out, and that made a huge difference in terms of the extra mileage to be able to get to the 25. So I think I covered 17 and a half maybe off the top of my head from memory, and then we missed those last 2 weekend runs, and I didn't quite make it. That's not Zoe's fault by any means, that is all on me, because I could have gone out and done my own runs on my own, and I just didn't. So I've started this month and this week sort of afresh, and I will endeavour to do the 25 miles again in August, and hopefully I'll make it this time, so I can knock 2.1 miles off that already. I am planning to keep going out. Zoe and I are planning to go out on Saturday, so that should be another 4 miles, say. So I'll see where I get to this time. I'm just glad that I've actually sort of pushed myself to actually get back out there by myself, and hopefully I can start to increase the distance I'm doing on my own, and actually build that confidence back up and do a little bit more. If I think back on whenever it was that I did my 5k, when I managed to build up and actually complete the 5k, that was 2-3 months ago. And as soon as I hit the 5k, it all just unravelled and I stopped. So it's all about the confidence and believing that you can do it. So I just need to set out and aim to do a further distance, and then increase that each time like I was back then. We'll go through it all again. But now that the weight, my eating is improved, then I should see the weight actually come off a lot quicker. I haven't made any further progress in terms of other exercise, and I've talked about wanting to do yoga. Haven't made any steps in terms of fitting that into the daily routine or regime. There's been quite a few walks in there still. I don't get as much opportunity to go out for walks now, but there's still the weekend and my 1 day off during the week, when I should be fitting those in. So there is, although that might not be considered as sort of exercise like going to the gym or running or swimming or whatever, or cycling, walking is still important. I think it does help towards the ultimate goal. So I'll keep that up. And I have been. Hill sprints have still been in there, did I say that? Didn't go last week, but had been doing weekly up until that point. And I felt like it felt like they were getting harder, but I think that's just because I was pushing harder, because technically they're getting easier, if that makes sense. So the easier things get, the more you push yourself, so it actually feels harder, and that's what I was getting to with hill sprints. I'm not sure if we're on for those this week or not. It would be tomorrow, if we were. So yeah, I guess I'll report back on that next week. What else have we been doing? Games. Haven't picked up Zelda again yet. Not sure what's going on there. I keep saying it. There's been a few evenings and it's like, oh, I should put Zelda on. And it's literally because the little cartridge is not in the Switch, so I can't just reach for the controller and put it on. I need to, in fact I'm pretty sure I said this on my last podcast, I need to go down, just switch it over, and then it's there ready. How hard is that really? Why haven't I done that? I end up just sitting around just watching whatever, when I could be actually making progress in my game, and I was enjoying playing that. There has been some other games going on. There's been some Super Mario Brothers and Mario Party, a little bit of Rabbids. Super Mario Party probably gets the biggest airing. That's just sort of little bits of gameplay here and there over the last few weeks, but it's not the same as getting in the zone with Zelda and putting a good couple of hours effort into that. I was progressing really well with it. Oh, I'm so annoyed with myself. So, this commitment here and now, by this time next week when I record another podcast, I will have played Zelda. I will go down after this podcast and sort out the cartridge, and then it's done, and then I can play it. What else has been happening TV wise? Has there been any films? We did watch a film. I can't think what it was. I know, it was, what's it called? Parasite. So it's is it Korean? A Korean film maybe? So it's subtitled. What's the concept of the film? It's a sort of, it focuses on different classes of people, so the poor class and the rich class, and the differences between how they're treated. I guess that's sort of a very high level view of what it's about, but essentially this poor family, one of them ends up getting recommended by a friend to go and tutor English to this rich girl that lives with her family in their sort of, it's not a mansion, but they're very airy and spacious apartment house, and one by one he helps sort of make it so that the other workers of that household working for the rich family end up having to leave or are fired, and he replaces them with members of his own family. So eventually him, his sister and his mum and dad all end up working in this rich family's property, doing various jobs, and it's just how that ends up spiralling out of control really. It was kind of different. I knew what the premise of the film was, but it kind of unwound differently to how I would imagine. But it was enjoyable. I'd certainly recommend people watch it if you're, I don't know, what would you be into to watch that kind of film? What sort of film was it? I'm not sure really. Certainly not a horror or thriller or anything along those lines. It was, I don't know how you categorise it. Yeah, that's bad podcasting, isn't it? I'm just mumbling along. I don't know. But I would certainly give it probably a solid 7 on my ratings of films that I've covered. Sorry, having a drink. I have another film that I want to watch in the coming weeks, which is Cookie bought it for me, and it's Dr. Sleep with Ewan McGregor. So I think it's the sort of precursor to The Shining. So I'll give that a whirl and report back. And he recently got the Blade trilogy. It's just newly been released on Blu-ray, so we've said we'll watch through all of those and report back on those. In terms of TV, I've been, I guess over 3 weeks I can fit in quite a lot. I've been watching Unsolved Mysteries, still checking in with Challenge, keeping up with that. I've been watching Cold Case Files, finished series 6 of Are You the One weeks and weeks ago. That seems like ages ago. I haven't continued watching any more of that. I tried to start watching some proper stuff that I could actually get my teeth into and talk about. I finished watching The Reckoning, which I think was was the last sort of proper show, as I call them, that I was watching on when I last did my podcast. That was really good, really enjoyed that. Took me a while, sort of maybe 2 weeks to work my way through them all, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Mentioned it to my mum whilst I was only part way through, and she started watching it, finished it before me because she enjoyed it that much. It's kind of strange because it sets you up, and you kind of know from the beginning who the killer is within it. I went through this before on my other podcast, but it's a show set around a serial killer that's been dormant for a number of years and then crops up again. The detective that was looking into the case and has been put back on the case, and just sort of the story unwinding around the detective trying to get to the bottom of who the serial killer is, even though we know all along. But there was other things throughout the story that, I don't know, they just kind of throw you and think, well, they don't explain it. The serial killer's son is in the show, and he's a little bit strange. He's come to live with his dad, having been expelled from school where he lived with his mum, I think is the situation. He talks about his stepdad isn't very pleasant, and I think we know that essentially he took a gun in school and that's the reason he got expelled, but we never find out why that happened. He makes reference to it at some point, sort of about what happened to him to make that to make him take the gun in, but it's never explained. And he's also pursuing paedophiles online. He's sort of pretending to be a young girl talking to a paedophile to then arrange a meeting so that he can turn up and cause injury to the paedophile, but we're not really explained why he's going down this route. There's also an incident where he witnesses a dog getting hit by a car, and rather than trying to get the dog to a vet, he sort of euthanises the dog there and then. So the son is portrayed to be quite strange. He's got some strange, he's got like some underlying issues perhaps, but those I don't believe were explained as part of the TV show. So I don't know if we're open to another series. It seemed to be left open. Sort of the detective knows by the end of the series who the serial killer is, but I don't think he has anything on him to be able to link him directly to the cases. So I guess there's going to be another season where that sort of gets wrapped up. Maybe, or maybe it's closed because he knows who the serial killer is, but there's nothing he can do about it. I'm not sure, but I thoroughly enjoyed the series. I think I say thoroughly too much, and recommend that you go out there and watch it. I'm laughing because I was going to say I thoroughly recommend, but it's definitely a show on Netflix worth giving a bit of time to, if that's your kind of bag, your interest. So I finished that, and I was sat last night thinking, what will I move on to? So I started watching Ozark Series 2. It's been on my list for ages. Pretty sure I've mentioned it before as needing to progress onto it. So I've only watched the first episode. The episode seems so long and drawn out, and I'm not always entirely sure what's going on. It's not that I don't understand what's happening in front of my face, but it's to do with the being able... If you don't know, the premise of Ozark is the main character launders money for the Mexican drug cartel. That is what the show is all about. That's how it started, and that's still where we're at in season 2. So it's always about him trying to set up ventures to get more money through legitimate companies to launder this money. But it's the details of being able to launder money that I'm not au fait with, so I don't really understand all the time what it is that he's trying to achieve, and how that will benefit him. But it was good. It was a good first episode. Quite a lot sort of happened, carried over from the last season, and then they were straight into it with this season. So I'll keep watching that. It's just, as I say, the episodes, I'm not sure if they're all that long or if that was just a longer one because it was the first one in the series, but it's like an hour, and I tend to lose my attention. I like 40-minute episodes, so we'll see how we get on with it. I'll keep going. Cooking all, I've also started watching Umbrella Academy Series 2. That just landed this week. Been eagerly awaiting that, but I'm not sure where this one's going, this series. So if you've not seen the Umbrella Academy, it's is it six children? They were all born on the same day. They were all born with powers. 6 of them were adopted by this I guess a sort of scientist with a lot of money, and he pursued sort of progressing those children. It was sort of an academy, and he gave them all numbers rather than names, and then this is now set when they're all kind of grown up. I'd say they were like late 20s or something, and the last season was all about them preventing the end of the world, which they weren't able to do, and they ended up jumping through time and have landed back in 1960. Well, it spread. I think some of them landed in 1960, 1961, 62 and 63, so they've all landed sort of at a different point in time. So some of the others have been there a couple of years when the next one has landed. Even though they all came through the same time portal, I guess they got lost in there somewhere before landing in these various years, and it seems very much that the storyline for this series is almost exactly the same. They've got 10 days to prevent the end of the world again. So we've only watched the first episode. I'll see how that pans out. I know the reviews are supposed to be really good, so definitely enjoyed the first series, so hopefully this one will be as good. It just seems strange that we've got exactly the same storyline again, and they're always being chased by people that are trying to kill them, which we have again. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. I'll stick with it, keep reporting back. Start watching it if you haven't already. First series is definitely interesting, something a little bit different, worth a watch if you like kind of superhero stuff. So I guess that's it really. It seems weird to be speaking about 3 weeks worth of stuff, but summarising it up in the same amount of time as normal. It's harder to reflect, as I said at the start, it's harder to reflect on a longer time period and then trying to think what you've done, which is obviously why I decided to move the podcast from fortnightly back to weekly, because it's just easier to check in along the way. So I will be back next week. I will let you know where my weight is at, how much more running I've managed to do, how many miles I've managed to cover over the course of this week towards my 25 for the month. I will see what films I watch. I'll check in on both Umbrella Academy and Ozark, and I will have played Zelda. I've made that promise, so I will keep that true. And then yeah, we'll speak next week. Have a good week everybody, and speak to you then. Bye bye.
So there we go. What do you think to that? She's back with a vengeance. Die hard with a vengeance. No, just a vengeance. Yeah. YouTube watchers, do subscribe. Helps out the channel massively. And if you can also pass the word on to people you might know to do the same, it really does help us out. Everybody jump over to Cookiecast.com. Check us out over there. There's links for social media, email and things like that, ways you can get in touch with us, and feel free to do that. We love to hear from you. So there we go. That's that for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.